Hello, Emma here in the park again. By request, bringing you yoga for splits. I actually have been working on splits myself, although not so much in the very recent past, but I would be happy to return to it, so I'll share with you now some of the stretches I do to work towards my splits. And I'm not necessarily working on my middle split, though I have to say a few months ago I was closer to it than I ever was even while I was in gymnastics and a teenager. So for what it's worth, if you do some stretches a lot, you'll certainly edge towards your goal, though some people may never get to full splits, and that's okay too. If you just like working on it or opening up your hips or whatever the purpose of your splits journey is, it's fine. Don't push yourself, don't hurt yourself. Just take it slowly and what feels good, and I think if you listen to your body, you'll be okay. So we'll begin by coming to a seat with our legs stretched out in front of us, feet about hip distance apart, and bend those legs generously. I'm at the park, so there is some commotion going around, but bend your knees and just exhale, folding over those legs. Breathing into those hamstrings as you begin to warm them up. A little beetle was on me, I didn't want him to get hurt. Allowing your head to drop if that feels good. We'll be staying in each of these poses for a few breaths. So if it's uncomfortable for you, if any of these are uncomfortable for you, modify them with knee bends or more knee bends. Or if that's really cozy and you want to straighten your legs a bit, keeping only a micro bend, that's okay. Think about breathing into that space you're creating with your hamstrings. And we'll rise to a neutral spine, bringing your right foot into the inside of your left thigh, inhaling tall spine, exhaling over that left leg. Again, you can keep your left leg bent here if you'd like. And all of this can be done with closed eyes. So if this is relaxing for you, maybe you're doing it at lunch, maybe you're doing it before bed, maybe you're doing it in the morning, but if you find some relaxation here, I think that's an added bonus. So just breathing into that left hamstring. Flexing your foot here will help you get that stretch into the calf. Then we'll rise to a neutral spine and simply switch your legs for the same pose on the other side. Inhale, rising through your spine. Exhale, folding over that opposite foot or opposite leg. Reaching for whatever feels comfortable. You don't have to grab your foot. You can grab your toes. You can grab your calf. You could even grab your thigh and help yourself fold over a little bit. Just breathing here. And on your next inhale, use your hands to help yourself come up gently. Bring your right foot to meet your left for cobbler's pose, butterfly. Your hands can hold your toes, or your whole feet. You can open your feet like a book to help your hips open. Inhale, extend through your spine. Exhale, folding. You can use your elbows here to help gently, gently, gently press into your knees. Don't force anything, just using them as a little bit of leverage. guess the park staff is trying to get their grass in order before the rain tomorrow. It's an otherwise beautiful day. Maybe as you're in this pose, you can begin to deepen. As you feel your body begin to let go. One more breath here. Return to a neutral spine. Cross those legs over each other. And we'll prepare for a runner's lunge. So here, I'm going to start with my right leg in front. You can start with your left leg in front, but you'll be on your back knee with your leg extended behind you. Maybe you're on the tips of your fingers, inhaling, extending through the spine, and exhaling, folding over that leg in front. Think about keeping your hips parallel with one another here. So you'll think about bringing your right hip back if your right leg is in front, and your left hip forward a bit. And then inhaling, coming forward on your right foot, creating a bend through your right knee. Stretching into that left front of your hip. You can keep your hands on the ground here. You can put your hands on your knee, breathing here. And then on your next exhale, coming back into that runner's lunge, flexing your front foot. Inhale, coming forward for a low crescent lunge. Exhale, going back to your runner's lunge. Just like with all of your yoga, fully inhaling and fully exhaling in the expression of each pose. So with your breath, one or two more times. Finding the expression of the pose that feels good to you. Just because I'm doing it one way does not mean you have to do it that way. And we'll come forward one more time. Keeping your left hand grounded, reach back as you bend your left knee to help stretch that quad that's in the back. For me, it's my left. Breathing into that quad as you're holding just gently, gentle pressure. We want to gently open up all of our muscles. We definitely do not want to injure ourselves. Gently release that back leg. Bring your right leg to meet your left, and bring your left leg in front. Coming first into our runner's lunge. Thinking about our hips being about even, parallel with one another. Again, flexing through your foot that's in the front will help you stretch that calf muscle. My hamstrings need the most work, I think, out of everything that we're opening today, so I'm tending to be staying here. But if any of these poses speak more to you and you think, yeah, I could really hang out in that pose for a little bit, that feels good, feel free to pause and do that. Otherwise, on an inhale, come forward, bending your left leg, making sure your knee is not coming beyond your ankle. Deep, full breaths. And on your next exhale, coming back to that runner's lunge. Inhale, forward for your low crescent. right hand on the ground this time, bending that right knee and reaching back for your foot to help stretch out that right hamstring. If you can't reach your foot, you could use a strap, definitely, or if you don't have a strap, you could use a tie. Anything that you need to do to make this accessible. Gently releasing that back leg. Coming upright on our knees. Just tucking those back toes under. Coming into a brief camel just to open up our front. Allowing your head to drop if that feels comfortable for you. It's hard to talk in this position. Breathing, pressing those hips forward. And then slowly returning to our knees. Coming again to your seat, coming to your mat, and extending those legs out wide. Not as wide as you can necessarily, but we'll do a wide-legged seated forward fold. Keeping a slight micro bend to your knees. Inhale, extend through your spine. And then exhale, walk your hands out in front of you. Maybe you come this far. Maybe you can rest your whole upper body on the ground, or maybe you're somewhere in between like I am. But just feel that stretch in through your inner hips. Breathing here. You're not creating this bend by creating a curve with your spine, thinking of keeping your spine relatively straight. You can drop your head if you'd like. Again, nice full breaths, inhaling and exhaling. Rising up. We'll come to our knees one more time. Your knees will be about as wide as your mat, or maybe a little wider. And then bring your elbows down. And your hips back. Stretching in your inner thighs again. And then we'll rise onto our knees. I am left-footed, so I tend to do my right, or I'm right-footed, so I tend to do my right split first. Staying up on your knee, on whatever leg is in the back right now. We'll begin by inching our foot out. Inch, inch, inch. And then you'll be putting a lot of weight on your hands as you just find where your hamstrings and your quads want you to stop. I don't have either of my splits yet. I did once upon a time. I don't anymore. That's okay. You can flex your foot here or point your toes. You can have your toes pointed under in the back. I like to have them flat on the floor. Top of my foot flat on the floor. Just breathing here. Sitting up as tall as you can. Don't push yourself. Staying here for another breath or two. And then the same way we came in, just gently rising out of that. If that's too difficult, you can just roll over onto your hip and bring your other foot in front, just to safely get out of the pose. Otherwise, we'll come back onto our knees, extending your left leg out in front of you, and then beginning to basically crawl your foot. In gymnastics, I absolutely would have pointed my toe. Now I'm more prone to flexing my foot. Whatever feels good for you. If you need blocks here to support yourself, that would be okay. Breathing. And on your next inhale, gently sliding out of that pose. And then we'll come into a wide-legged forward fold. And we'll just, same thing, we'll just start to inch our feet either way. Maybe you can rest here, and that's stretching your inner thighs. Maybe you can come down to your elbows. Mine's not very pretty, that's okay. Just breathing here into your inner thighs. And then when you're ready, slowly walking your feet back in, or maybe you have to fall backwards onto your butt. Anything that works is fine with me. Those are some of the things I do to practice splits. I'm sure I can evolve on that later, but that would be a good start. If you've got questions, put them in the comments, shoot me a text. If you know me, shoot me an email, whatever you want. Otherwise, thank you for joining me today. Namaste.